Faraday's law relates two important quantities. The first quantity is the EMF, and that is induced EMF. And the second quantity that it relates is the magnetic flux. And to be more accurate, it is the rate of change of magnetic flux. EMF is usually written with a curl E, and the magnetic flux is usually denoted with a capital Phi, like that. Faraday's law states the induced EMF equals negative the rate of change of magnetic flux. Now we can denote magnetic flux with a subscript B there, like that. This negative sign is crucial, and it is part of the sign convention, and although it is part of the sign convention, it is very important to determine the direction of the induced EMF. This is how we define magnetic flux. Assume we have a circular wire loop, like that. The area of this loop is, let's say, a meter squared, and the normal vector to the plane of the loop is, let's call it n hat. So we can write the area vector for this loop as quite simply vector A, which is defined by the magnitude of that area times the normal vector. Now let's assume there is a uniform magnetic field going across the area of that loop. Let's call it vector B. The angle between the vector B, the magnetic field, and the normal vector to the plane of that area is theta. Magnetic flux through this area of that loop is defined in the following manner. It is defined as the dot product of that magnetic field vector and the area vector that we have defined below, which can be rewritten as quite simply BA cosine of the angle between the two vectors, and that is theta. So from this definition, note that this definition, the simple definition of magnetic flux, is for a uniform magnetic field. So it does not have any spatial dependence. It's the same everywhere in space. So this expression for the magnetic flux tells us that magnetic flux is a scalar. It's not a vector quantity, it's a scalar quantity. And the SI unit to quantify magnetic flux is Tesla meter squared, or Weber, with an abbreviation capital W, little b. So 1 Tesla meter squared equals 1 Weber. So if, let's say, the magnetic field has a magnitude of 2 Tesla, and the surface area of that loop is, let's say, 3 meter squared, with the angle between the normal vector and the magnetic field is 45 degrees. So the magnetic flux through this loop is therefore 2 times 3 times cosine 45 degrees, which will give you 4.24 Weber, or Tesla meter squared. Since Faraday's law states induced EMF equals minus the rate of change of that magnetic flux, what are the things that could make the magnetic flux to change? Magnetic flux changes when 3 things change. The first, it could be the magnetic field that's penetrating the loop. If magnetic field changes, the flux changes. Or the area of that loop. If the area changes, the magnetic flux changes. And the third way is when the orientation of this loop changes with respect to the magnetic field. Because when the orientation of that loop changes, that would change the angle theta. And when angle theta changes, the magnetic flux changes, and that will give us an induced EMF. Let's look at a sign convention to determine the direction of induced EMF. Note that although EMF is a scalar, we can talk about the direction for this induced EMF because the direction of the induced EMF controls the direction of the induced electric current. So how do we determine the direction of induced EMF? It can be determined from the following sign convention. Note that you have a uniform magnetic field through this loop whose area is a meter squared. Induced EMF is given by minus the rate of change of magnetic flux. Now let's assume for a moment that the magnetic field is increasing in time. The value of magnetic field is increasing in time. So dB dt is a positive quantity. What that means is, since magnetic flux is given by B a cosine theta, and let's assume that in this example the area is constant and the theta is constant. So the expression for the induced EMF would simply become minus a cosine theta dB dt. Since dB dt is positive because magnetic field is increasing with time, that means this expression alone is also positive. But then you have a negative sign in front of that definition of Faraday's law. That would make, in this example, the induced EMF to be negative. So what is the direction for negative induced EMF? Let's determine the positive direction of the induced EMF first. If you grab the whole loop with your right hand fingers and your thumb is pointing along the normal vector, the direction of your curl of your right hand fingers represent the positive direction for the EMF. So in this case, the positive direction for EMF would be in that direction. However, since in our case the EMF is negative, then the direction of the EMF is going that way. So if this is positive, this is negative. So the correct direction for the EMF for present case is that. That also means there is an induced current in the circuit going in that way, the same direction as the induced EMF. Next, what happens if the B, the magnetic field, decreases with time? So that means dB dt is negative. So this entire quantity will be negative, but there is a negative sign in front of the definition of Faraday's law that would make EMF to be positive. So when the magnetic field is decreasing with respect to time, the direction of the induced EMF is positive and will follow in that direction. And the induced current will also be in the same direction, like that. So that is the sign convention that we use to determine the direction of the induced EMF. Let's look at a problem. The magnetic field below is uniform at any time, but is increasing at a rate of 0.05 Tesla per second. So this B here is increasing with respect to time. So dB dt is positive. The area of this loop is given by 150 cm squared. If the loop has a resistance of 4 ohms, find the induced EMF and also the induced current in the wire loop. Now first we note that the magnetic field and the normal vector is parallel to each other. So the angle between them is 0 degrees, cosine 0 is 1. So the induced EMF expression will simply become minus d over dt times BA. The area is a constant, so it can be taken out of that derivative sign. And dB dt is known. It's given by 0.05 Tesla per per second. So that is the rate of change of magnetic field, and we know it's increasing, so it's positive. Putting in the numbers, we get the following for the induced EMF. The area is 150 cm squared. Converting that to meters squared, you get 0.015. dB dt is 0.05 volt, because EMF is quantified in the units of volt. And you get minus 7.5 times 10 to the power minus 4 volts for the induced EMF. We note that the induced EMF is negative, so according to our sign convention, if this is the positive EMF, that must be the direction of the negative EMF. So our EMF is going that way. Now let's determine the induced current. The induced current will also go in the same direction as the direction of the induced EMF. And from Ohm's law, it is given by the EMF over the resistance of that circuit. So the EMF is, the magnitude of it is 7.5 times 10 to the power minus 4 volts. The resistance is 4 ohms, and that's going to give you 1.875 times 10 to the power minus 4 ampere. And that solves the problem. Problem 2. A coil of wire with 400 turns with radius 5 cm is placed in a uniform magnetic field at an angle of 30 degrees with respect to the plane of the coil. The magnetic field decreases now at a rate of 0.3 Tesla per second. Find the magnitude of the induced EMF. Now this is a cross-sectional view of the system. So what's happening is that you have a coil like that, and the magnetic field is going like that. So this is the plane of that coil. So the normal vector is going like that. So that angle here, if this angle is 30 degrees, then that angle, which is also this angle, has got to be 60 degrees. And this is the angle that comes into the expression for the induced EMF. Induced EMF is given by minus the rate of change of magnetic flux. Now note that in this problem the coil has 400 turns, so that must be taken into account. So the induced EMF is minus n is 400. Note that the magnetic flux is given by BA cosine 60 degrees, as we explained a few minutes ago. So the A is constant, the angle does not change. So the A is pi, radius is 5 cm. So change that into meter, 0.05 meters squared. So this is a circular surface area, so that's A. Cosine 60 times dB dt. Now dB dt is 0.3. Since it's decreasing, so it's minus 0.3 Tesla per second. Putting everything inside and calculating, you get the following for the induced EMF. It's positive 0.471 volts. So let's assume that we want to determine the direction of that EMF. Now this is a positive EMF, so that's the direction of your thumb, and you grab the loop with your right hand fingers, you see that this is the positive direction for the EMF, so that means the direction of the EMF is that way, and that is also the direction of your induced current. And that solves the problem.